Until the 20th century, Romanians and South Slavs were more pagan than they were Christians, and I will prove this to you by describing a ritual, a hunter's initiation ritual that was practiced until extremely recently. Now, I know that one example is not by far enough to prove my point, but the truth is I just don't have space in one video to bring all the evidence needed. I can't provide more arguments in just one video, but be sure that I can always make more videos. Now, the ritual I'm going to talk about is called zău plecat. It will roughly translate as truly gone in English, even though I think zău truly meant other thing than it could just mean God. Zeu, God gone, or something like that. Now, I didn't find this ritual myself. It was presented by Ion Nania in an article in which he tried to prove that the old Zamolxian Romanian tradition, Dacian tradition, was kept alive in Romanian orthodoxy. And I disagree with this, with his points and with his article, but that's beside the point. Now, I want to hear your opinions about this ritual. Even if you're Christian, if you're pagan, whatever, just, try to interpret it, to give me an explanation for it, just to have a talk. Your opinion is welcome. So, the zău plecat, this initiation of a young man, the hunters, was performed during Saint George's Day. Now, Saint George in the Balkan is considered by many researchers as a survival of an older Thracian deity called the Thracian horseman. And there's actually plenty evidence that would suggest that, but again, we won't get into this right now. Now, for one to get this initiation, he would need to fulfill two conditions. The young man had to be baptized with the dew of an oak tree when he was 3 and when he was 7 years old. And the zău plecat is quite similar to that baptism, so I will just describe zău plecat. It doesn't surprise you to hear that this ritual was performed in a forest, and not anywhere in the forest, but beside a oak tree. Now, this oak tree had to be special. It needed to be old and needed to be placed on a hill or some sort of... it needed to be a bit elevated from the other trees. The ritual began at sunrise when a priest, the young man and his godfather, would go to a forest, and before entering the forest they would face the sunrise and bow 3 times and asking the Heavenly Father to allow them to enter in the holy forest, in his holy church, where all the animals that were meant for hunting and eating were lived. Then they would head to the old oak tree, where the young man would get his 3rd dew baptism. So the godfather would stand then over his nephew, or not nephew, whatever, and chant over him a prayer in which he asks the Lord, the Heavenly Father, to make the child, or the boy must be 15 years old, so the teenager. Godfather would chant over the 15-year-old boy, over the teenager, and he would pray to God to make the boy as powerful, as strong as the old oak tree when he will have to face the dangers associated with hunting. And the Godfather also asked that the boy be cleansed of the sin of killing animals with the dew of the oak tree, to be washed with it and to become as pure and as shining as the heavenly water. And he would chant this formula 3 times, and then he would make a cross with the dew on the forehead of the kid. And then I think the priest would also make a cross with the dew on a small cow, on a calf, I think, a child bull, how do you call that, a calf? And then the priest would take this calf, this small bull, and hide hide behind vegetation, and then he would kill the bull, he would sacrifice it, and take his skin off. The priest would give the skin to the godfather, who would place the skin over the head of the teenager. The teenager would kneel in front of the oak and attach his forehead to and he would touch the tree with his forehead, and he would swear an oath that he will respect the forest as a holy place, that he will never kill small animals. Again, how do you call them? The children of animals, baby animals. And that he would not kill birds that are forbidden to humans. That he would also protect the ancient laws and traditions. And if he were to break this oath, then he asked the black holy bull of God, I have no idea what's this about, to crush him. He asked the eagles to tear him apart, and the holy crows to eat him. Now, all you Christians on TikTok, I think you're very familiar with Boniface and his cutting of a oak tree that pagans worshipped. So I don't have to explain what it symbolized, and I don't have to explain how pagan the oak tree is as a holy symbol. And I hope that all pagans know that the oak tree was the special tree of the thunder in the European tradition, and that a bull was very often sacrificed to this thunder god. Now, the Ion Nania, the author of this, the one who wrote about this ritual, suggests that this is a continuation of a Argessis ritual, and I disagree with that. I think it's rather a ritual to Perun, and if it's older than the Slavic migration in the Balkans, then it's probably dedicated to the Thracian horsemen. About this later in another place. I really want to hear your opinion on this ritual. How do you interpret it? To whom it was dedicated? You know, even if you're a Christian, then, you know, if you can convince me it's a Christian ritual, do so. Let's talk in the comments. Or if you're interested in the follow-up to this video, just follow me, obviously. Otherwise, you will probably not see me again on TikTok.